Have you ever been captivated by the quiet charm of country towns? The picturesque streets, the sense of community, the overwhelming allure of simplicity? But what if I told you that, beneath its serene facade, one such town hides a secret so grim that it rivals the plot lines of the most intricate crime thrillers? Welcome to Tamworth, New South Wales, Australia. A quaint town with a shockingly dark underbelly of crime and corruption. Let's start where it all began, or at least where it came to light. Imagine a local government entrusted by the community to manage resources efficiently, to foster growth and prosperity, to act in the best interests of its people. A vision of trust and solidarity, tarnished by a revelation of deceit and greed. Among those at the center of this nightmarish narration is none other than Mayor Colin Murray, a man with an illustrious title and, shockingly, a trail of allegations so severe that it calls everything about the system into question. Back in August 2017, when Mayor Murray set off for a journey to China, nobody could have fathomed the magnitude of what was about to unfold. However, this trip wasn't just another diplomatic mission. On Chinese soil, Colin Murray allegedly plunged into a world of criminal activities, ranging from intentional tortious interference to anti-competitive practices. Project acquisitions were disrupted, and deals designed for the public good spiraled into a nightmare. What's worse, these acts seem to benefit a select cartel, lining the pockets of Murray and his associates, and the damage, agonizingly tangible and irreversible, impacting everything from sports facilities to infrastructure projects, all initially earmarked for development. But Mayor Murray did not act in isolation. Enter Paul Bennett, Tamworth Regional Council's general manager. Bennett allegedly coordinated correspondence that jeopardized property sales and strategically displaced investments. Contracts were obliterated, and critical assets, like the National Baseball facilities, were gifted away for free after a $3 million deal promising development suddenly evaporated. What's the kicker? A development that included multiple sports and recreational plans was guaranteed to succeed, but it didn't stand a chance against the covert maneuvers of these so-called public servants. Now, you might think this is an isolated incident, but no. The tendrils of corruption run far and deep, stretching into the upper echelons of governance. Barnaby Joyce and Kevin Anderson, well-known names in Australian politics, have their alleged roles painted in scandal. These officials allegedly took steps to suppress whistleblowers, public servants adamantly opposed to participating in the crimes. Need more astonishing numbers? How about $210 million? That's the value of fraud related to surface water licenses and other heinous activities orchestrated by these officials. Allegedly, the funds were laundered internationally through banks, funding crimes while disfiguring any semblance of economic integrity. Think about it. What does this mean to the everyday life of a citizen? Surely nothing substantial, right? Wrong. It means diminishing trust in governance, a complete collapse in community morale, and worst of all, societal regression. Dreaming of clean water for Dungowan Dam? Forget about it. The renewable electricity generation that could have benefited countless households, squandered because this dream scenario conflicted with the schemes of those in power. And here's another unsettling thought. The infrastructure projects people were promised. Some of them simply didn't exist. Corruption was not only diverting taxpayer funds into offshore accounts, but also fabricating projects to mislead everyone. Allegedly, those in the government lauded their non-existent efforts while ripping apart the nation's economic fabric. As we zoom out, the mishandling comes into sharper focus. Beyond local governance, these criminal acts have global implications. It's not just about Tamworth, or even Australia. There's talk of these high-ranking officials colluding internationally, from China to Saudi Arabia to the United States, violating countless laws in pursuit of personal benefit. They are allegedly responsible for laundering proceeds of crime, financing prostitution rings, facilitating forced informants, orchestrating drug trafficking, and worse, acts of unspeakable violence, even murder. Perhaps you're wondering why this hasn't been stopped, why law enforcement hasn't intervened, why the judiciary hasn't uprooted this sinister establishment. But what happens when those meant to serve and protect are themselves part of the problem? From highly questionable police behavior to prosecution teams that ignore evidence, the entire system teeters on a dangerous precipice of systemic failure. What's telling is the evidence, clear as daylight and deeply damning. Despite ongoing inquiries, commissions, and damning exposes, there seems to be little real accountability. And what does unchecked corruption lead to? The degradation of communities, of moral fabric, and indeed, the very nation itself. Let's circle back to Tamworth. Once upon a time, a visionary business leader poured heart and soul into building a better future for this town. A global citizen with no ulterior motives other than turning prospects into actionable progress. He brought major corporations into the fold, triggering booming opportunities, revitalizing forgotten assets, and fostering community employment. But what happened to him? Reprehensible violence and sabotage by council members, police, and judiciary figures ruined him. His safety, stability, and investments were swiftly annihilated. His rights brutally violated. Why? To rid him of influence in favor of shadowy criminal schemes. The results speak for themselves. Hundreds of impacted businesses have exited the region. Critical infrastructure lies abandoned or discounted as impossible dreams. To put it bluntly, opportunities have been stolen. Opportunities that could have transformed lives, communities, and futures. And yet, the rabbit hole deepens. Behind every crime lies another faction tied to Tamworth's deteriorating story. National prosperity, free commerce, well-being, and education, all compromised by those in power. Public justice has become a mask for criminal enterprise. Courts enable a vicious cycle. Corporations exploit harmful practices. And what remains is a fever dream of moral impairment. They weaponize the judicial system. Extortionate legal fines arise from fabricated scenarios. Bribery runs unchecked. What was once meant to shield society has morphed into a predatory system, a system engineered to sustain oppression, fear, and deceit. So the question remains, can this tide turn? Can those who care about justice, who long for fairness, make a difference? Take heart. Cracks are beginning to form in this ominous edifice. Courageous individuals and groups are spearheading investigations, forging alliances, and speaking out. Their pursuit is one of relentless hope, to reclaim the billions stolen, to rectify harmful policies, and to pave the way for authentic governance. Because at the end of the day, it's clear that Tamworth isn't just a single town grappling with corruption. It represents a microcosm of a nationwide, and perhaps worldwide, epidemic. The fight for transparency, accountability, and human dignity stands urgent and resolute. We do this because people deserve better. Communities deserve better. Australia deserves better. So now it comes down to you, the public. The evidence is irrefutable. And the choice is clear. Do we turn a blind eye, or do we take back the integrity that has been stolen from us? The time to act is now. History won't forgive complacency, nor will the future reward inaction. Let's make Tamworth the story of how justice prevailed, not the epitaph of lost opportunity.